Welcome back to Make It Modern, where we do affordable and realistic DIYs every week. Well, we like to keep it real over here, and we do our best to do it every week. Let's jump right on into this video for part 2 of our dining room makeover.
So this is what the room looked like before. In our previous video, we already took out the flooring, did some demo work, and took off some ugly wallpaper. Now we left that wall blank because we knew that we would do something with it in the future. And that something is this week's video, the Venetian plaster. So the first order of business was to actually head on over to Instagram and make a poll for you guys to let us know what color to pick.
But wait, where can they find our Instagram?
Right here. I've had it here the whole time.
Sorry, I missed that. Shameless plug.
So like I said, we made a poll and you guys actually picked the color that we went with. We went with like a beige tannish color. So the options were gray, tan, or white. And you guys chose the right one. So go you guys.
Very happy with it. So the first step when getting ready to Venetian plaster is to prep. Now we cannot stress this enough. Prep is key. How well you prep your project is how well your project is going to turn out. So you want to tape off the floors, tape off any of the baseboards, tape off the ceilings. In our case, we do have popcorn ceilings and we don't really care about those, but you should tape off your ceilings. And big pro tip here, we actually did not tape off our windowsills and we were kicking ourselves afterwards. So we actually had to go in, sand everything off, and then repaint them just because we didn't prep it. So do as we say, not as we do. Yeah. So
that was a big pain in the... So now that everything's prepped, this is the fun part. Get all your tools and it's paint time.
Time to smoosh all the Venetian plaster onto the wall is how I say it.
She really likes smoosh. We've done this cake a couple times and she always goes back to the smoosh word.
So there is a technique for our smooshing, and that is to kind of smoosh it in a direction into the previous Venetian plaster. Kind of like the 1900s kids say, teach me how to Dougie, it's teach me how to smoosh.
So your first layer of Venetian plaster, you're going to want to go on kind of thick-ish. So this, you're going to get some good coverage on the wall, makes it a little bit easier. What you're going to end up doing is letting it dry for a couple hours, about 3 to 4, and you're going to go in, you're going to sand it with some 600 grit paper. Words are hard.
It's late.
But you're going to be sanding off some material, so that's why you want your first layer to be kind of thick. With that, after you sand it, you're going to go in with a nice second layer. That's going to be your skim coat and really your beauty coat. You could do 3-4 layers, but it just depends on how much material you have and how sore your shoulders are from the day before. Most other YouTube videos, they don't really tell you this, but it is a workout. Definitely don't recommend going to the gym before this.
Yeah, use it as your shoulder day. It was a great workout. Yeah. I'm still recovering.
Have some drinks after, you earned it.
So the whole idea behind a Venetian plaster is that it has this beautiful random burnish pattern, right? So it really helps to have 2 people and to alternate areas in which you're doing it. So that way I don't get too comfortable in my pattern and I can switch with my partner and he can go up and randomize the pattern. So that really helped. I really think that made a big difference on how ours turned out.
That was a good one. And for getting some systems in place, she was the one that was smooshing on the wall, and I often ended up being the guy that cleaned the trowel because it is important to have a nice clean trowel when you're putting this stuff on, because it does dry fast, and if you get any little clumps in the trowel, you can actually see track marks from dried material scraping on the walls.
It's never good to have your tracks showing.
No. Burnishing is really the last step. That's what brings out the shine and makes it look really nice.
Yeah, I didn't do much of that. I'm glad he was around.
Again, know your roles. I was the burnisher.
One thing we did do is there will be times where you'll have a little hole or a little imperfection. Do not be alarmed. All you have to do is take a little bit of your material and cover it up. Let it dry for about 20 minutes. It dries really fast in small portions. And then you can lightly sand over it and again lightly burnish over it and you can't even tell.
So while you're fixing up any mistakes and it's drying, this is the perfect chance to go back and paint.
Like our video.
Well, I guess you should probably like our video and subscribe. So before that, now is the perfect time to go back and fix any painting that you might have messed up. Like we said earlier, we actually didn't tape off our window trims or the wall surrounding it, so we had to go back and put some paint on that as well.
after we sanded it. Now, before we move on, we do have plans to seal our Venetian plaster. Now, the reason we haven't done this yet is one, we were kind of over the project. Two, it wasn't until after we were done with the project that my cousin Anna let me know that on her Venetian plaster in her bathroom, adding the sealer made it much, much more shiny. So we figure we'll put that on and do some styling to the dining rooms.
Well, that's it for this week's video. YouTube thinks you'll like this one and we do too, so go ahead and click on that. We'll see you next week on
Make It Modern.